Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the MASHNDRUM Whiskey Room. It is Whiskey Wednesday night, Super Bowl week. Got a lot going on this week, guys. A lot to do tonight. It's gonna be a fun night. It's gonna be kind of a silly fun night, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the MASHNDRUM Whiskey Room. I'm Jason C. Like, subscribe, do everything while you're here watching. Appreciate everyone coming in tonight. That's right. Tonight, we're going to predict the Super Bowl winner with bourbon. How's it going to work? I'll explain that a little bit later. But what's going on, everybody? Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone is everyone's already getting ready for the Super Bowl. Fly, Eagles fly, says Patrick D. Trail, let's see. Trail Nation, cheers. What's going on, man? What I see in your hand. So this, what I'm starting off with tonight is the Nashville Barrel Company barrel pick from ADHD Whiskey and Stuffin' Whiskey. Their collaboration called Swag Junior, which is a just an awesome label that they did together. Love this one. Looks really cool. Yeah, this is my MASHNDRUM Red Glencairn. These are available in my store now. There's a bunch of different colors of these that I have. I think I have blue, red, green, and the black ones. The black ones are slick with the gold logo on it. So yeah, just been busy. So today has been kind of a whirlwind. I literally went to an event put on by the Central Ohio Whiskey Society, or as COWS as they like to call it, and I got to finally meet, after all these years, Dan McKee, master distiller of Michter's. Or I was kind of fucking with him. I'm like, isn't it Michter's? Isn't it Michter's? Don't lie, it's Michter's. he was kind of laughing about it. He's a really cool, laid back guy. He kind of went through I think 6 different products of Michter's and kind of broke it all down. Got to try the 2022 Bombergers, which that's a bottle I never really see anymore. And if it does drop in Ohio, it's probably gone like this. And I just, I never know when it's coming in. But man, that was one of my favorite pours of the night. Probably easily my favorite pour of the night. He had Michter's 10-year rye we were tasting, the sour mash, the small batch bourbon, the straight rye, and the what was the other one? Yeah, sour mash, and then and then the American whiskey, the blue label. So excuse me. Joe Carter coming in here says, "Oh man, that's Swag Junior. Love it. Absolutely." Were you wearing Michter's gear at the time? No, I wasn't wearing Michter's gear. I was just wearing, we were wearing like a button-down shirt, but I actually they sat me next to Dan. I mean, Dan was doing the presentation most of the time, but I forgot to give him shit about his, $6,000 bottle of Sour Mash Michter's, which I wanted to do. I felt like I better not do that the first time I'm meeting this guy. Oh shit. So it was funny. Yeah, these are glass. Yep. Yeah, JC Marcigan. Yeah, that's what I wanted to like grill him about it, but yeah, he's like so nice. He's just such a cool, laid back guy, and he gave me his card, and maybe at some point we could do an interview or have him on the channel, answer all your questions. I did find out, which I didn't know, that since 2015, all the I guess kind of the core range stuff that Michter's does is all their own stuff now. So since 2015, he said the Michter's small batch, the straight rye, the sour mash, and the American are all their own stuff. Now, obviously, all the older age stuff is not theirs. Obviously, they can't say where they source it. NDAs are bitch. But also on top of that, he did mention the use of heat cycled warehouses, which automatically makes me think Brown-Forman to some level, because, Brown-Forman is very well known for using heat-cycled warehouses. So I know they can't say where they're sourcing it from, but I think for a long time people thought it's been Brown-Forman or Old Forester or whatever you want to call it. So I mean, maybe a good indication of it could be them, but you just never know these days where all these barrels are coming from. So yeah, that's how he gets away with the pricing. Yeah, it's like I want to give him shit, but he's so nice. He's such a nice dude. Kevin Elizondo, are you going to review ECBP A123? Kevin, man, it's that review dropped on Monday. You got to go back and watch it. Already reviewed it. Let's see here. Yeah, you don't have to put it on the red, says Lori Lane. Red Glen is giving me the old school red Pizza Hut cup vibe. Yeah, it kind of. Here's a nice little close up of it. It's got this. It's a cool red. Red's my favorite color. So if you guys didn't already realize that, because my logo behind me can be like any color, and I always have it in red. But cheers. Let me know what you guys are sipping on in the chat. Then we'll get into some news stories. There's a lot going on. The last few days, especially today. We're gonna get into all that. We're gonna unpack all that. Some new labels, and then I'm gonna kind of let you guys in on how we're gonna figure out the Super Bowl winner through Bourbon, which you guys actually might have a part of if it ends up being a tie. So we'll see what happens. So cheers. Oh, what the hell is in there, man? This is a 5-year-old bourbon, and it tastes like it's like 10 years old. That is crazy good. Just like cherry cola. It's like flat cherry cola all day long. It is so effing good. Damn. I wish I actually grabbed 2 of these, but I'm lucky I got 1. So I'm just going to sip on that a little bit. Let's see. Kenneth Rapburn says, Michter's core bottles still don't say distilled by Michter's, though. Wouldn't they say it if it was, in fact, their own stuff? I don't know if they have to say the distillery. I think it just has to say the state. But it is all their own stuff. That's what he's saying since 2015. Is Bardstown Disco 9 with the price? Is Bart's worth the price? Bardstown Disco 9. I really liked Discovery 9 series. I just kind of missed my top 10 for 2022. But yeah, I like Disco 9 a lot. But if it does have a little bit of a flavor punch from that Georgia whiskey that they use in it. So, yep. So did NBC supposedly source some Kentucky barrel peppermint? Absolutely delicious. Yeah, apparently it is all Kentucky. It is Kentucky, but they can't say where it's from. They can't say the mash bill. Nothing. Don't know where it's from. Nobody knows, but I don't care. As long as the whiskey's good. There's clearly a class system in terms of who gets the best barrels of MGP and who doesn't, says Joe Wanninger. The Offerman Lagerville in 11. Nice. Let's see here. I saw that in Nashville today. Which one is that? Shredward, this is just a barrel pick, so this isn't like a widely available release. So I get peach rings. Oh, that's a good call out, David. I totally see where you can get that from. Yeah, we kind of, let's see. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. What's up, Tim Gorgeous? Nice to see you. Mamuka's here. But no colorated natural, no additives, no sugar. Right now, sipping on some Bibb & Tucker 10-year. There you go. Drinking the Dickel. I'm drinking cognac today. Occasionally I have to clean the palate with something else. It's Bardstown. Yeah, we talked about that. Middle West stuff with Kyle Old Fitz 11-year and some samples. Yeah, love the Middle West stuff. Is that how many finals it will take for LeBron to win the same amount of titles Jordan did? Guys, I mean, better than Houdini. It's different than Houdini. It's a totally different profile. Houdini is MGP with like a really huge dark fruit flavor. This is just a different flavor profile. I mean, I don't know. I would have to put him head to head, which I haven't done yet. Old Forester 1870. Yes, the Blanton's raid. We will talk about that. You need a LeBron shirt with 38-37. No, I'm rocking my my sneaker, my Jordan shirt. And just so you guys know, I'm not, messing around. Tonight, everyone asked me what sneakers am I rocking today. Rocking my my Jordan 3s. So matches the shirt. There you go. I love those sneakers. I've had them for a little while, but I haven't worn them, for a while. But I figured I'd break them out tonight. So I like to break them out of events. So I went to go see the Michter's event, and I'm like, let me throw these babies on. I haven't worn these yet. Yeah, so that glass is sexy as AF. No, Shanks was not there tonight. It was just the core ranges. The biggest kind of profile bottle that was there tonight was the Bomb Burgers. What's up, Toshi Bake? Hey, just sounds like a cool Michter's experience. Assume you'll get into the news from today about Justin's and buying MHM imports that are suspected to be counterfeited. Answer your take. Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit here. Eric says, been thinking about joining your Patreon for a while. Curious the last 5 barrel picks or so and what tier I need to be in the chance to have at them. So it's been, we have a mix of a lot of stuff. Stuff from Cedar Ridge. We're releasing our first Japanese whiskey, our first Japanese cast strength 10-year-old whiskey this Friday. Then we have our Hughes 10-year rye. We have that Dancing Goat corn whiskey finished in Spanish barrels. But, you know, this was a lot of the stuff we picked towards the end of the year last year, but a lot of the stuff that's kind of resetting for this year. I mean, we have a Yellowstone pick, Rebel, Ezra. We're still rating on Four Roses, a couple Four Roses picks. Possibly, I think Lucky 7 we're trying to get this year. So we have a lot of great stuff lined up, but we're still right now getting through a lot of the other stuff that we still have yet to release from last year. We just released the Driftless Glen picks, which are freaking amazing. I tell anyone, if you want to join the group, it's not, it's not gonna be like every super big brand that everybody wants. Our goal is to find whiskeys that are unique and delicious for everyone to try all across the country. It's not just, the big brands. We've never done a Buffalo Trace pick, so if that's what you're looking for, we haven't done one, and it doesn't look like we're going to get one anytime soon. That's just how it goes. We have 3 Wild Turkey picks coming out soon this year, so we got a lot of good stuff that I would take over most Buffalo Trace stuff either way, anyway. So, what's up? Dusty Dan is here. Let's see here. I'm ready for those Japanese picks. Yeah, that Japanese whiskey is no joke. It's really good stuff. Some of my favorite MJ are ones that are lesser known that were not instant sellouts. Yeah, I mean, Bourbon Apprentice. We have 2 Kentucky Spirit barrels coming out. 1 Russell's. That's what's going to be. That's what's going to be dropping. Yeah, totally agree. A lot of chocolate notes on there. Nice. Have a 99% corn. This is the second time you answer one of my messages. That's enough for me to join up. Thanks, man. Yeah, the Blue. Yeah, we'll get into the Blue Run pick. All right, so let's get into a few news stories here before we get into well, let me explain the Super Bowl thing or the prediction thing before we get into the news stories. So I figured, why not have some fun? Let's try to predict the Super Bowl winner through bourbon. So I crowdsourced some great head-to-head matchups, just like Philly versus Kansas City, that will go head-to-head. In a bunch of, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blind tastings here. Now, randomly, the glasses going against each other have been designated either Kansas City Chiefs or Philadelphia Eagles. So the whiskey pairing at the end of the night that has the most wins will be the Super Bowl winner. We won't find out what glass is designated what team until the end. Now, if it ends in a tie, this is where you guys will come in. I'll have you guys give me some fun head-to-head blinds to do. Maybe we'll do a couple more and see if we could figure out who the winner is going to be. We'll designate them a team randomly through the wheel of name spinner that I have set up already, and we'll see who wins. But we have Elijah Craig 18 going against Knob Creek 18 tonight. We have Blanton's going against the new Bardstown Bourbon Company High Rye Origin Series. We have Evan Williams 12-year 101 going against Wild Turkey 12-year 101. So there are some really good matchups that a lot of the viewers put forth to do tonight. So we'll see what wins out in some of these fun matchups. We have a heavy hitter one at the end of the night that we'll get into. It might have Stag in there against something else. We'll see how that goes. So it's going to be really friggin' fun. So I can't wait just to taste these whiskeys tonight. So it's going to be awesome. 37-34 Chiefs, says Bougie Bourbon. We'll see. Damn, I just became an even bigger fan of yours. I love the Jordans. I got a collection of over 100. Damn, Steve. 100. Shit. That's crazy. You have to be a patron to get picks. Yeah, for sure. Both teams suck. Go Niners. Toshi Bake. All right. So I'm going to sip on this. Let's get into our first news story here, guys, because there's a lot of shit that went down this week. Let's start with some good news first. Let's get into Elizabeth McCall. So if you guys do not know Elizabeth McCall was just named Master Distiller of Woodford Reserve. She is the third Master Distiller in Woodford Reserve history. So this just happened Monday. Woodford Reserve announced Elizabeth McCall has been elevated to Master Distiller. She becomes the third Master Distiller in Woodford's 26-year history, succeeding Chris Morris, who will be named Master Distiller Emeritus. I'm humbled to stand upon the foundation built by Chris Morris, who's one of the most well-known and respected master distillers in the world, she said in a news release. McCall has been with Brown-Forman since 2009 when she was hired as a senior technician. She later held the titles of Associate Sensory Scientist and Master Taster and Senior Quality Control Specialist. 5 years later, and the assistant has been axed from that title. She is now Master Distiller. So what does this mean for Woodford Reserve? It just means that Woodford Reserve and Brown-Forman in general. I think Brown-Forman, they've been very smart and strategic, putting females with really good palates, really good sensory abilities in these roles. But to elevate her to a master distiller, she's been under Chris. I have a special place in my heart for Elizabeth McCall. She gave me my first mash and drum or at the time she was just named Master Distiller, but she gave me my first interview ever. Like she let me interview her and if you go all the way back in the old Mash and Drum catalog, I have an episode called Off the Still with Elizabeth McCall, and she was the first interview I ever did, and she was gracious, she was super nice, she obviously knows what she's talking about from a sensory level. This could open some more doors to get more women to come through the doors into whiskey at Woodford Reserve. Woodford Reserve has an extremely loyal following. So I think this will just kind of maybe open up some more doors for her. And as far as Chris Morris's role, we'll see what happens with him. I still think he's going to be involved in the bigger brands coming from Brown-Forman, like King of Kentucky. Chris Morris usually blends the birthday bourbons and all that. So he's still going to be involved in all that stuff, I think. But congrats to Elizabeth McCall. I think it's great. Absolutely great. Let's see here. Everyone is still talking about they're going for a larger market. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big part of it. Hey, fifth quarter tailgates here. What's going on? I think a larger market is clearly a big part of the the direction in that, and that goes with any big distillery. All right. Diageo got themselves into a little bit of trouble. So it looks like Diageo, from what I read, it looks like they have a bunch of pay cuts that happened. And the Diageo whiskey plant workers were pretty outraged over this. They said it was totally unacceptable pay cuts. So they went on strike. So engineering workers at Diageo in a bottling plant in Scotland are striking over a pay dispute. The workers' union Unite said Friday the United Kingdom and Ireland's largest trade union described the pay dispute as escalating. The strike began Friday, was planned to conclude Monday. The engineering workers say they will result in a 6% pay cut, and they ain't having it. So that's kind of interesting, considering Diageo is one of the largest, if not the largest, whiskey making conglomerate on the planet, and all of a sudden they're going to do a 6% pay cut. I mean, whatever. I don't know enough about all the business dealings behind the scene, what's going on with Diageo, why they would do that, but I guess we'll see what happens. I guess stay tuned for that one. The Salesman says, bye, Chris Morris, after a lame 2022 birthday bourbon. Yeah, I mean, he's still gonna blend birthday bourbon, dude. He's not. They're still gonna count on him for that. Maybe they'll get Elizabeth McCall being a master distiller. Maybe she'll help on it. Who knows? But we'll see what happens. Yeah, who's winning in Durrell versus Dara? Because I want to know who wins that, so we can factor that into tonight's results here. So, what are the glasses to your left? Are they just for looks, and can I have them? The glasses to my left. Yeah, these are part of the blind tasting. These are stemmed tulip glass. They're called stemmed tulips, or they're not exactly Copita glasses, but you know, they can be marketed that way sometimes. I love those glasses. Let's see here. We got Tyler Smith in the house. Lucas Oppener's here. What's going on? Salty Lettuce in the house. What's up, Salty? Paul P is here. The Bourbon Judge, Marcus. What is doing, dude? Nice to see you here. What's up, Martel? He can't, you know, you can't have him, dude. Can't have him, Martel. What's up, Black Bourbon family? Jason and Brandy in the house. Raise your drinks up casually. Gotta sing the song whenever they come in. Bourbon Battalion's in the house. What is going on? Love everyone. Dara won, so the Chiefs won. Well, let's see how that goes tonight. We'll see if that stays true. Let's see here. Next story up. Let's get into a couple of this is good. This is good. All right. Let's get into a little story about Blue Run. Everything I predicted has come true when it comes to Blue Run. I don't know if you guys have heard about their new picking system, what's going to happen, but let me show you guys this real quick. So, all right, here it comes. Chosen. Now you see the big butterfly. You see all of it. You see that. You see Chosen on the butterfly there. Yep, everybody sees it. Good, glad. Blue Run announces the first private whiskey barrel program. Okay. There's a lot that goes into this. This is marketing whiskey at its best. Marketing whiskey at its best. At its finest, even a better term for it. So this is what we got. Now I'll kind of read through this, you know, try to get through it quickly so you guys just kind of see what's going on. Blue Run Spirits is taking the wraps off its first private barrel program, and it's unlike anything the whiskey industry has ever seen before. Big marketing. Developed by Trade Wade, Blue Run's chief experience curator, the program features elements similar to the most exciting aspects of collegiate and professional sports. So they are linking this with the Super Bowl. That's really kind of the crux of how this is going to work. It's been officially dubbed Chosen. If you actually read the article, there's so many air quotes or so many quotes of things that's like happening in this article. It's almost like, how many more quotes do we need here? So Chosen, the program is to give customers a much more engaging experience than simply thieving whiskey from a barrel. So launching in February, the Blue Run private program will starts with scouting season, in quotes, as Blue Run seeks out retailers and organizations that share the company's values and vision for a broader, more diverse whiskey community, and automatically brings them on board. Okay, I love that. At the same time, the brand will be spreading information on the program to other members of the whiskey. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So here we go. On the day after the Super Bowl, so February 13, 2023, the portal, more quotes, will open. This online experience will allow interested parties to throw their name in the hat, again in more quotes, for a chance to select their very own barrel of Blue Run whiskey. Potential draftees will be asked more about their organization, and they're going to ask you a bunch of questions. You will have the ability, now this is what I said, this is what I called, you have the ability to customize their strip stamp, their neck label, and perhaps most significantly, the color of your Blue Run butterfly. More than 750 design combinations are possible. So there you go. Now, March 23rd, you fast forward, is, in quotes, draft day. With the same pomp and circumstance as the NBA, MLB, and NFL drafts, they're literally equating this to professional draft events. Every qualified entry from the portal will go into a barrel inspired by lottery wheel, and one by one, 16 lucky entries will be chosen at random. That's why it's called Chosen. The event will be streamed live on multiple online platforms for enthusiasts around the globe to tune in and see who is allocated these coveted selection experiences. The Blue Run Draft, again in quotes, will have an invite-only live audience at whiskey partner Bardstown Bourbon Company in Bardstown, Kentucky. From there, the season begins for all who have been chosen. I can't stop doing it. They will work directly. So have you guys heard anything about the whiskey yet and all that? Nothing about the whiskey, right? Nothing about the whiskey. And all that reading, no mention about the whiskey. Here's where we get to the whiskey. They will select a single barrel or create a micro blend from inventory hand-selected by Blue Run whiskey director Shaylin Gammon. Now, what did I say? There's going to be more emphasis on doing blends rather than just single barrels, and Blue Run is kind of leading that charge. The barrels set aside for the program vary in age, proof, and even mash bill. It will all end with a butterfly gala, a VIP launch party to showcase the creativity of each private selection, like the ESPYs. There, the guests will get to sample various whiskeys from all the program participants, and there will be superlative awards for best barrel, best blend, and best design. Each barrel will yield 170 to 215 bottles, and each bottle will be $200. $200 for one of these pick bottles. So yeah, that's a lot. So what you're telling us to get in so we can try to get an M&J future pick. Yeah, you know what? Let everyone else have those picks. I don't need one. I'm not charging people $200 for a butterfly and 4 to 5 year old whiskey in there. Ain't happening. What's up, Cheech? Cheech is in the house. 2 to 4 years old, probably for the butterfly. Blue Run equals the Powder Puff Pro Bowl. Butterflies identify as horses. The Chosen is also the name of the loser character from Smosh. But are they sending it to space? They are not sending it to space. So hard pass today, tomorrow, and yeah, always. Jason, how many different butterfly colors are in your collection? I have one butterfly. This is the only bottle of Blue Run that I have. And I reviewed it. I reviewed it, what was it, like 2 years ago? Almost 2 years ago. This is the only Blue Run bottle I own. And I obviously hasn't, I reviewed this almost 2 years ago and I haven't made a dent in it. It's not bad whiskey. This is a 14-year-old. This is one of the 14-year-old single barrels. I mean, it's good. It's solid. I just kind of always forget it's down there. That is the only butterfly I own, and it's gold. I love gold. So, hey, ADHD whiskey is here. That's an expensive barrel. Yeah, $200 for God knows the ages. I mean, if they're sourcing these barrels from Bardstown Bourbon Company or even Castle and Key, I'd be surprised if any of them are 6 to 7 or 8 years old. So I don't know. I think blending is a good idea. I give Blue Run all the credit when it comes to marketing. I think linking it with the Super Bowl, everything that they're doing, it's what they do. It's brilliant. And I've said this time and time again. You don't have to have good whiskey to sell bottles. It's great marketing. I think marketing can trump especially for new drinkers or people coming in, the bourbon curious. If they don't know any better, what's on the shelf? What are you going to gear towards? A pretty bottle with a nice story, with all the marketing and all the pomp and circumstance around it. What's the most exclusive thing I could find? And I think Blue Run has done that in spades. Unfortunately, I think whiskey geeks and people that are in the know kind of can see through that a little bit. But it's one of those things. And there's one sentence that I loved in that press release about the picks, and it was about bringing people from all across walks of life together to participate in an event and do something together. I love that part of it, but you kind of see the background of it, and they're not really talking about the whiskey in the bottle. It's all about the marketing and all the events behind it and the link to sports, and it's the ESPYs and all this stuff. Like that's to me is not what bourbon's about. Bourbon's more about that event when you're together making that bottle and sharing it with your family and friends and stuff, not broadcasting it online because it's cool. But I mean, I get it. This is the world we live in these days. But I mean, it doesn't mean I have to like it. Maybe I'm a little old school that way, but I get it. $40,000 barrel is bonkers. Would love to see their margins. Yeah, ADHD whiskey. For those numbers, to charge $200 a bottle, MSRP, I mean, that's a lot. I know the bottles are probably expensive to make, and then you have the customized colors, the band, everything that's going to go into it is going to cost money. And I think that's where mainly the cost is. It's the bottle and the customization of that bottle. It's not so much the whiskey. So the douchebags of Blue Run are the reason I need a mash and drum bourbon. Listen, if it was easy for me to come out with my own bourbon, I would. But yeah. Bringing people together, if you can, are willing to pay for it. Marketing brilliance. Absolutely, James. That's what it is. And I don't fault them for that. I think it's smart what they're doing. Like I said, doesn't mean I have to like it. All right. Let's go to the next one here. Let's go to a couple new bottle announcements. I don't know if you guys caught this one. Bernheim is coming out with a small batch barrel proof. Now, anyone that has been to the Heaven Hill Bourbon Experience in Kentucky has been able to try single barrel versions of Bernheim. And it looks like now we are getting, and I think some of these have already dropped in the market, but this is a barrel proof version of the beloved Bernheim wheat whiskey. And I mean, the single barrels I've had have been pretty hit and miss, but this will be a nationally allocated product that will be released twice a year in batches. So each batch will be assigned its own batch number and will vary in proof. So the first edition is A223, the bottle at 118.8 proof. So same numbering system as Elijah Craig barrel proof and Larceny barrel proof. 51% wheat, 37% corn, and 12% malted barley. The barrel proof iteration retains that mash bill always, and it looks like price $65, $65 for it. So not a bad price to kind of get in on the ground floor of trying that. Let me hear from you guys in the chat. Are you in on that? Yay or nay? Bernheim barrel proof wheat. What do you think? Yes? Are you grabbing that for sure? You want to just try the first one and see how it goes and then kind of make your decision from there? Where are you guys at with it? Let me go to the comments here. Heaven Hill is listening, says Crispy Baking. Cheers all. Great on the move. I'd hit it. Adam says, bring me all to Bernheim. 7 to 9 year blend for 65 is solid. Yep, I agree. And it's different. I mean, there's just not many cast strength wheat whiskeys out there. And I think to have one from one of the bigger brands, that's a win-win. Let's see here. What's the big difference between that and Larceny? So Eric, let me see if I pull up the mash bill again here. So mash bill is 51% wheat, 37 corn, 12 barley. So it's not a bourbon. Your dominant grain is 51% wheat rather than 51% corn. Now the mash bill for the Larceny barrel proof, I think is what, 60-20 and change, something like that. Corn, wheat, and then barley. So that's why it could still be called a bourbon. It's a wheated bourbon. This is a wheat whiskey because the dominant grain in this whiskey is wheat and not corn. There is corn and barley in that, but when you have that dominant grain of wheat in the mash bill, it becomes a wheat whiskey by law. So there you go. Let's see here. I mean, I'll try anything else. Everyone says I'll try it. Mostly wheat. Yep, that's pretty much the big difference. How does wheat age differently than corn or rye? So rye generally is known to age the quickest. So you can release a 2, 3, 4-year-old rye and have some pretty good flavor out of it. Bourbon, I still feel like you need, now bourbons do release at 4 or 5, years old. Some of them can be really good at 5 years old, like that Swag Junior, but that's not always necessarily the case. I think bourbon really hits its stride once it gets like 6, 7, 8 years old. It really starts getting those really developed flavors. Wheat, on the other hand, I feel like needs the most time to age. So having it at 7, 8, 9 year blend, I think is smart from Heaven Hill. I think any younger, it starts to get really wheat bready, wheat grain forward, which it's like eating a bowl of Wheaties, and I don't really want to taste that in my whiskey. So. Because wheat is a much more delicate grain than corn or rye, so you have to. I think it needs a lot more time to develop in the cask. Speaking of Heaven Hill, oh, I am all over this. All over this. You guys hear about this one yet? Holy shit. So, the Barrel Proof 17 year was my bourbon of the year last year. This is the second release in the Heritage Collection. That's right. Even though the box is open, you can see the 2 and the 0. This is a 20-year-old corn whiskey from Heaven Hill. So basically, you're looking at barrel proof 20-year-old mellow corn from Heaven Hill. This will be 115 proof, 20 years old, suggested retail price of $290. 80% corn, 12% malted barley, 8% rye. It's made up entirety of 110 barrels, produced in October of 2002, and pulled from the third floor of Heaven Hill's Rick House 1K. Let's see here. This bottling will be housed in a blue box with Heaven Hill's insignia stamped in gold. If you're a whiskey head, you may have spotted 80% corn content in the mash bill and wondered why this isn't classified as bourbon. Corn whiskey is actually separate, much less common for category. The most significant difference between bourbon and corn whiskey is that while bourbon must be aged in charred new oak barrels, corn whiskey cannot be. So if any of you guys are wondering why this is not bourbon, even though it does, the mash bill would guide you to think that way. It's been aged in used oak instead of new oak. So that's why it is a corn whiskey and not a bourbon. So 20-year-old corn whiskey, it's basically mellow corn at 20 years old, barrel proof. If I could find that bottle, ching, ching, I'm getting it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, the secondary market price on that is going to be ridiculous. You know it is. Wheaties is the choice of champions, like Caitlyn Jenner when he was on the boxes going. That's true. Take my money. People have lost their damn minds, says Fifth Quarter Tailgate. That's not a bad price for 20-year. Another unobtainable bottle, 27. Yeah, that's probably what it's going to cost to get into that bottle. It's probably going to cost about anywhere. I would think that projections, you're looking at, 2,000, if not a little bit over in the beginning before the secondary prices kind of calm down a little bit. Secondary prices have been coming down, in general the last few months anyway. What do you think we can expect for that old of a corn whiskey? I think you're going to get a lot of sweet. You're going to get a lot of oak. I'm hoping you get a lot of the butterscotch, the buttered popcorn notes that you normally get. Hopefully a little bit more intense, almost like Cracker Jack, like dried caramel, maybe a little hint of chocolate there, maybe like a white chocolate note with some of those ultra-aged corn whiskeys. I mean, that's what I would expect, but I don't think I've had a corn whiskey that old. You can't even compare it to light whiskey because light whiskey is even a higher corn content. It's distilled at a higher proof and it's put in a used barrel. And those can get really, really candy, like liquid candy corn. So, but this is a little different. It's still distilled the same way as you would with a bourbon, but it's just put in a used cask and aged longer. It's 80% corn rather than the 98 to 99% corn that light whiskey is. So you can't really compare them on those levels either. So there's a lot of differences there. But I don't know. I'm hoping pass for me. Does bourbon help depression? I don't think so. If you're drinking bourbon for depression, it's probably the wrong way to be drinking it. 2K is, mind-blowing. That could happen. Does for me. With a used cask, it may not be as much oak fluence as you might expect. Yeah, I would agree, Patrick. By the way, Patrick, I hope you're feeling better, buddy. It might be more sweet than oak. I still think you can get a little bit of oakiness to it. I would hope, because I would like to try a corn whiskey to that age and that sweetness with a little bit more oak to balance it out. But we'll see what happens. If I'm lucky enough to try it or even get a sample from Heaven Hill this year, we'll see what happens. Dry Fly, I believe, is a wheat whiskey, I think. Maybe the 20-year. Let's see here. Hey, Marty. What's up, DC? Nice to see you, man. Whiskey Nose is here. What's going on? All right. What other bottles here were announced? All right, so we just have some TTB bottles just to go through. The new Blood Oath popped up on the TTB, so this is pack 9. So this is a pretty usual finish. Nothing out of the ordinary. You're looking at Blood Oath pack number 9. to be finished in Oloroso sherry casks. So this is an Oloroso finished sherry, pack 9. It's always hard to read the script on these labels because it's such a fine script. But it looks like it says a 16-year-old bourbon blended with a 12-year-old bourbon. Then finally a 7-year-old finished bourbon in Spanish Oloroso sherry. Okay, so this is not unlike what they normally do with Blood Oath. You have 2 ultra-aged bourbons, 16, 12 years old. Then they take the youngest whiskey in the lot, which is a 7-year-old bourbon whiskey. They finish that one, then they blend it with the older whiskey. So that's why I think the Blood Oath finishes are normally pretty subtle. I don't think I've ever had a Blood Oath where like the finish just punches you in the face. And there are times where I do want that, and sometimes I don't. I feel like with the Blood Oath, for the money you spend, I do want a little bit more finish. Oloroso seems to have a little bit more impact than I think other finishes do. So I'm hoping to get a little. I love cherry finished whiskey, so I'm hoping that brings it. So I'm definitely interested in that one. Dixon Deadman has released. We have the Tribute blend. This is going to be his 3rd blend in the mix. It's the 3rd release in the ongoing small batch blend series. Again, this is another double barreling process, but I can't find any information as far as like ages or what is in that blend. But if you like the 2XO lineup, then that's going to be the next one. New Riff. I love these labels. New Riff is going to be coming out with these high note collections, and it looks like these are specially selected barrels from New Riff. Kind of hitting the high note, probably like the best representation of the barrels that they have, and going to be specially releasing these. This is the Balboa single barrel straight rye whiskey. I love the Balboa rye, and if they're doing like a specialty single barrel selection of that, man, I'm all in on that. I don't know if I'll get one or find one, but I love that Balboa rye, and man, I'm looking forward to that one. Another release from New Riff, Sour Mash Single Malt, Kentucky single malt whiskey, cask strength without chill filtration. Looks like it's going to be 110 proof. Look at the age on the bottom of that label, guys. Aged at least 7 years. 7 years. It's a 7-year American single malt from New Riff. What did I say again a few weeks ago when I was doing the putting on my Swami hat? You're going to see more and more distilleries coming out with American single malts. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm telling you. We saw Jack Daniels do it. New Riff's doing it. It's going to be a matter of time till we see Jim Beam, till we see Heaven Hill, till we see, Wild Turkey, whoever it is, coming out with American single malts. It's going to happen. All right. Chattanooga. This was one of my favorite bottles last year, the Chattanooga Whiskey Founders Edition. This is the 11th anniversary. It looks like they're going to be doing this every year. I thought the 10th anniversary was just going to be kind of a one-off, but they're going to have an 11th anniversary blend. So in this one, looks like it's a marriage of whiskeys to commemorate the 11th anniversary. Solaris Style Expression was distilled both in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Indiana. It's a blend of whiskeys from 3 one-of-a-kind charred oak Solera barrels. This combination of traditional and innovative recipes showcases the dynamic blend between multiple styles and sources of whiskey. So again, what they're doing is they're taking the 3 different distillates that they used originally when they opened up, and they're taking some Solera versions of it and making a proprietary blend and releasing it. Now, even Chattanooga, for their special releases, you're looking at probably $50 to $60. They keep the prices extremely attainable, extremely reasonable. I think people sleep on them still. Love what Chattanooga's doing. So let's see here. Stuff and Whiskey just did an American single malt blind. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I love American single malt. I definitely have some American single malt reviews in the pipeline just because there's a lot more coming out. So I love American Scotch, says Peyton. I dislike Chattanooga. It tastes like charcoal. So I think that that charcoal flavor you're talking about is that high malt. That high malt is very chocolatey. Could come off a little bit too strong for folks. So I totally get it. Blood oats you'll usually see come out around March, April. So that should be hitting pretty soon, next couple months. The ECVP A123 reminds me of the bourbon version of Ugadale. Shock, it's this good. Yeah, the A123, if none of you have seen my review, I was super impressed with the Elijah Craig A123. It's more oak forward than some other Elijah Craig barrel proofs I've had that have been a little bit on the sweeter side. But that A123 is really, really good. I'm a fan of that one. All right. Four Roses is releasing these 50 ml bottles of all their recipes. Now, I didn't grab every single recipe, but you see, here's 3 of them: OBSK, OESO, OBSO, all 50 milliliter bottles. And I saw this online. I'm looking at them like 50 milliliters. Is this going to be like a gift shop tasting thing where you could buy all 10 in a tasting pack and you could try all their recipes? Is it like a blending kit where you could kind of blend your own recipe? Is it just for tasting? Is it what is that? Why these 50 milliliter bottles? I need to reach out to them to find out more about that, about what that is. Is it just a gift shop thing? But I think it's a really cool idea, because I think when people buy the Four Roses single barrels, if you've never had a recipe, at least you can get some sort of an indication or representation of what recipe you like the most. And if you're not into collecting whiskey, or you just want to buy the recipe you like, that's a good way to kind of try what you want, and and have that in mind. So when you go to a store and oh shit, OBSK, I tasted it, I know I love that recipe, I'm grabbing one. So that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I think buying that sampler pack, I mean, it'd be really cool. And I would love to blend them, make my own little poor man's Four Roses LE out of all that. Pretty cool. And then lastly, I mean, it's been brought up in chat. Let's talk about it. These images were brought up about Justin's House of Bourbon. So if you guys hadn't heard, Justin's House of Bourbon was raided a couple weeks ago. There was a huge story about it, and everybody was kind of freaking out and saying, apparently they just bought some bottles that were stolen. There was just a lot of misinformation being thrown around out there about what happened at Justin's House of Bourbon. So it looks like if you go to Kentucky.com, there's this really in-depth article of what exactly was found, what exactly was going on at Justin's House of Bourbon. And unfortunately, and I love those guys, but this story ended up running a lot deeper than I wish it did. It's when you read it, it just kind of progressively gets worse as you're reading it down the line. And now I still think there's more information that's going to come out. I still think there's more fallout from this, not only for Justin's House of Bourbon, but maybe some other people involved in it. We'll have to see what happened. I'm not going to sit here and speculate. It just sucks, because they're great guys, and I don't know. It's tough to talk about, because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus or make anyone's lives harder than they already are. But here are the cliff notes. A January raid of Kentucky vintage liquor store Justin's House of Bourbon is tied to a same-day Washington, D.C. raid that found hundreds of potentially illegal transported bottles of Blanton's, Weller, and other premium bourbons. No charges have been filed, but D.C. district regulators are working with Kentucky, Texas, and Pennsylvania to find out what went on. So those are the 3 main states involved in what was going on. So basically, according to the report, hundreds of bottles of Blanton's were placed in voluntary detention, which that's really hard for me not to laugh at that, because I just picture a bunch of horses, like horsey top bottles, behind jail, going, let me out. Oh my gosh, it's hard not to laugh at that. I don't know. It's Anyway, let me go on here. The investigation into Justin's house of bourbon began last fall when a Kentucky alcoholic beverage control officer contacted a D.C. alcohol investigator about shipments from Kentucky to D.C., informing the investigator that Justin's had been issued cease and desist orders from 2 states for illegally shipping alcohol, according to documents obtained by the Herald Leader. The states were not named in the report. Okay. Thousands of bottles of bourbon were shipped to D.C. So they started investigating Justin's in early November after Kentucky officials alerted them and learned that 2022 Justin's had been importing large quantities of alcohol into D.C. from Lexington, including several thousand bottles of Buffalo Trace, Larceny, and Weller Reserve, according to the D.C. case reporter. Days later, the investigator learned Justin's was planning to import more bourbon, 620 bottles of Blanton's. This was kind of the kicker. So on November 10, 2022, investigators visited Justin's house of bourbon to conduct a regulatory inspection. While they were there, an employee said that Justin's house of bourbon transports alcohol from their retail locations in Kentucky to Washington, D.C. to sell online and ship nationally, according to the case file. The employee confirmed that they are transporting 500 cases of Blanton's into the district that weekend, according to the case file. So the questions raised about potential counterfeits as well. Blanton's was coming in from the Netherlands. So that's where they were getting all these Blanton's bottles from, according to the case. The supplier was Must Have Malts. Sazerac, makers of Blanton's, Weller, and Buffalo Trace, the company said has been dealing with a widespread counterfeit of their product and that it was originating from the Netherlands and has hired a retired FBI agent who is working with federal officials to track down counterfeit bourbon. There was a quote saying Sazerac product is more lucrative than heroin right now, which you could make an argument. So let's see here. When the agent described the scope of Justin's House of Bourbon imports, they advised Sazerac had not sold that many bottles to any person this year and was certain that if that was that much, it may be coming from an illegal bottling operation occurring in Kentucky. Sazerac only sells to RNDC. I mean, not anymore, but at the time it was. Not to any individual retailer. And she did not see any large orders being sent to RNDC of that magnitude in the past year. While the DC case report alleges that Justin's House of Bourbon improperly transported the alcohol, the report does not implicate the store in counterfeiting the bourbon. So there's a lot to unpack here, guys. Obviously, they found a whole shit ton of this illegally brought in bourbon from, all Sazerac brands, mainly Blanton's. It says 339 bottles of Blanton's International at 93 proof, 177 bottles of Blanton's Gold, 4 bottles of Blanton's Domestic, 4 bottles Blanton's 93 proof, a 70 CL bottle, which is an export, 76 bottles of Blanton's straight from the barrel, 180 bottles of Blanton's Chinese market bottles, and 263 bottles of Weller Special Reserve. Now, this also links to investigations in Texas and Pennsylvania, because apparently the Kentucky ABC sees a large amount of alcohol from Justin's House of Bourbon retail stores in Kentucky and is still going through everything what they would find. They've also been shipping alcohol into Texas and Pennsylvania, which is a very big no-no as well. So, I mean, it's a lot to unpack. So not only are you looking at, illegally buying all these bottles from these Sazerac brands, especially the Blanton's and all this stuff. Now you're looking at the possible transportation and also the selling of into states that they shouldn't be selling. And it's interesting in the article how they got caught. Basically, somebody wanted to buy a bottle of Blanton's, and he's like, can you ship this to where I live? And originally the employee said no. And then the person that actually worked for the law enforcement decided to open it up in the store and started pouring it with everybody. And then the employee had said, well, I'm driving the bottle here and I could ship it to you from there. And I think that's kind of how it started and how they got caught. It just, the hole just kept getting deeper and deeper. I'll say this, though. The thing that pisses me off is that Sazerac, who likes to make all this, this commotion about their products being counterfeited and priced up high in the secondary markets. They make all this noise about it. But when it comes down to it, the reason why Sazerac has these issues is because of the false rarity that Buffalo Trace and Sazerac has portrayed to everyone. It's this false narrative that their stuff is so rare and hard to get because it's the greatest whiskey, it's the greatest bourbon in the world. And people fall into that, which only breeds this type of behavior. That's not just Justin's House of Bourbon. There's been countless. There's people overseas getting these bottles, secondary markets, you name it. People are buying these bottles at a high market value. Nobody has a higher market value than Buffalo Trace bottles because of the rarity of it. But it's a false rarity. I don't give a shit what anybody says. There is more bottles that could be on the shelf, around all of us than there are. And I think because of that rarity and because of that desire and because of that want, this is what happens. This is what you get when you drive this amount of demand for your product because of your rarity. False rarity is what is driving all this behavior. It's what drives this behavior from Justin's House of Bourbon, other retailers, and what drives the behavior for these rare bottles to be put up on shelves for a bottle of Eagle Rare for $400. It's what drives people on secondary market. It's what drives people to wait online at 2 a.m. to try to get a bottle of Buffalo Trace. It drives all of it. Now, Sazerac has left RNDC to try to distance themselves from this supposedly, this bad behavior. Now, does this continue with all these smaller distributors that they're going with, this smaller distributor system all around the country, not just, this big RNDC? Will we get to see more Buffalo Trace products on the shelf? Time will tell. We won't know. But I do think that, obviously Justin's House of Bourbon did a lot of wrong there. They went, behind the curtain, did some shady shit. I feel for them. I hope it works out. Who knows? I just hope they get to stay open. Maybe they just won't have any Buffalo Trace bottles on their shelf for a long time, if ever. But yeah, I think when it comes to the landscape of this, I think Justin's House of Bourbon, unfortunately, is the group that got caught. But this is going on a long time, forever. And that false rarity that Sazerac has put forth for Buffalo Trace products has driven a lot of people to do this. So there's a lot to blame to go around for this whole issue. So that's what I'll say about that. Okay. Let's see. It's a giant shit show. Saz doesn't even want to inform customers they exclude their biggest barrel per bourbon 20, which says a lot about their priorities. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that move of we will drive to DC and ship it anywhere is a really bad look. Yeah, I mean, I'm right with you, Mike. I love this House of Bourbon, and I hope they don't get hurt too bad over it. But you get caught for doing this. That is not a good look, unfortunately. But like I said, money is money. Money is money. And you could sell a bottle of Blanton's, especially some of those exports that we don't get here, for a shit ton of money. And unfortunately, this is what drives people to do this. So Sazerac, there's a lot of blame to go around. I also fault the 3-tier system. The 3-tier system is not perfect, but it's what we got. And there's a lot of bullshit in between. I don't really see a way to fix it because everybody wants their cut. It is what it is. I mean, it sucks. It sucks. Yeah, people who are new to whiskey fall right into the Buffalo Trace trap. Yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing that this hurts too. Or these are the people that the Buffalo Tracer, get to. So it's crazy. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. I think I said enough. But that's really, when I first read that was my thought immediately. I think Sazerac has made this monster, and now they're trying to fault people for building a monster that they can't control. And when people go this distance to make this money because of your false rarity, this is what you get. So deal with it. You got to deal with it. Either deal with it or put more of your product on the market for people to get. Because if you don't, this is just going to keep. This will be the first story in a multitude of stories of people doing this shit. So, all right, Jason, check my super chat. Sorry, Toshibe, what did I miss here? Let me go up. Here we go. Justin's may have violated spirits import shipping laws, but I didn't knew about that. Liquor laws are dumb. Interested to see what SAS determines. Product seized by import from HM and counterfeits though. I bought from Must Have Malts. I bought from Must Have Malts too. I'm right there with you, Toshibe. And that's kind of the other part of it that sucks is liquor laws in every state are different. And this is where it gets really murky of where you could sell, where you can't sell, where you could ship, where you can't ship. It's hard to keep track of it all. It's bullshit. And it just makes everything so convoluted and so complicated. But yeah, I bought from Must Have Malts. I've never bought a Sazerac product from Must Have Malts. I've only bought scotches from there. But yeah, I've used them before. So yep. This would have been a good topic on the rant with Rob and Jeremy. Yeah, between oops, all rants edition. Yeah, I've been ranting way too much. It's already 10 o'clock, guys. All right, let's find out who's going to win the Super Bowl. You ready? You ready for this shit? All right, here we go. I'm going to hit some music here. I'm ready to drink some whiskey, have some fun with you guys. Ask me any questions if you want in the chat. We'll go through this. So... All right, here we go. So, oh wait, I have a question. When can I get a red Glencairn like that? Friggin' sweet. I won't drink Blanton's in it. If you click the link in the description, they're in my Mash and Drum Glencairn store, so you can order your Mash and Drum red Glencairns there. I think I also have green and blue and some other colors in there too. So, all right. So this is how it's going to work. If anybody missed it. What I have done is I have crowdsourced some really, really fun head-to-head bourbon matchups. All right. Now, each of the glasses have been designated with a random team, either the Kansas City Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm just going to drink these random bourbons, go head-to-head, pick which one I like the best, and then at the end, we will find out which team I picked more of. Does that make sense? If it ends in a tie, you guys will have the chance to give me a couple more blinds to, choose a definite winner. So I thought this would be kind of fun, kind of silly, kind of a stupid thing to do. But the suggestions I got for doing these head-to-heads were awesome. So let me get some water here. There you go, DC. DC just dropped it in the chat. My red Onyx Glens. Go grab them if you can. All right, first matchup of the night. You ready for this one? It's a good one. Knob Creek 18 versus Elijah Craig 18. So this was a suggestion that came through like multiple times. So we're going to do this blind. We're going to test them out and see which one wins. One of these has been designated the Eagles, and one of these has been designated the Chiefs. We'll find out at the end who wins what, but these are the first two in the blind lineup. All right. Got the samples right here. These were poured blind. I made sure that the right Glencairns were used, so I couldn't tell what was what. All right. Jason, you should be using red versus green Glens. Yeah, I just don't have enough of each of them, dude. I would literally need like 20 of them. I just don't have that many. I'm gonna have to order some of those. Yeah, oak versus oak, but will one oak win over the other oak? We'll see. All right, let's go to the first one, guys. To no one's surprise, it's pretty oaky. Man, oak. Now, this is Beam and Heaven Hill. So they both have that like nutty profile to it. This one is no different. I think the difference to this is going to be how the palate reacts here. Mash and Drum, the only question is that really Who will be the Falcons QB next year? I would be lying if I said I don't want the Atlanta Falcons to go after Lamar Jackson. I kind of want it to happen in a really bad way. I think he's perfect for Atlanta. Let's make it happen. Go get Lamar. Save Lamar from Baltimore. Bring him to Atlanta. But Desmond Ridder showed some promise. I think he's still got to grow into it, but we'll see what happens. All right. Man, this is getting into some like snickerdoodle cinnamon cookie thing going on here. I know it's feeling good tonight. Lucas Oppener says Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to go to the Raiders. Oh, this one now. This one's a little softer on the oak. A little bit sweeter. Lamar is a bum. Lamar is the Malort of QBs. Really, the Malort? Aaron Rodgers will be a Raider. Yeah, I think so. All right, let's try these. Let's see which one wins out here. Wow, good spice, good finish. I got a ton of almond on that right now. A ton of almond. Jeez. Whiskey Uncensored in the house. What's going on? After having a free 4-ounce pour of EC18, yes, I'll say EC takes this. Okay. Jason, you can have Matt Ryan back. No, he's not starting ever again. I say he'll be a backup this year. He may play some. I think it's going to be his last year in 2023. I think he's going to retire if he doesn't retire already. Now, the Falcons are not bringing old Tom out of retirement. Tom Brady wouldn't even play it for Atlanta. Atlanta doesn't have enough talent yet. Atlanta has a ton of money that they could spend. They are under the cap, a ridiculous amount of money. So hopefully they build up that defense. They get some holes on their offense shored up. And, hopefully they make a little bit of a run. I'm not expecting them to make the Super Bowl next year, but, a playoff game would be nice. All right, let's go to the second one here. Jesus, these are close. Now, Elijah Craig 18 is 90 proof, while this is 100 proof. And on the palate right now, I can't really tell which one's less and which one's not. They both are bringing a really good spice to it. And that almond note in this glass that's the bee's knees right there. This glass is very good, but it's not bringing me a finish like that one is. This one has more going on the palate, especially the finish, but they're both really, really close. This is a really tough matchup. I feel like this glass right here, this first one, has more of a baking spiciness to it. They both have that nutty profile to it, but this one's a little bit richer, a little bit has more depth of flavor to it. And that almond cookie note I'm getting on that, oh, excuse me, is just, that's what's keeping my attention. All right, one more sip. Yeah, I have to go with this glass. This one's very good, very sweet, but it lacks depth on the finish. So let's find out who won the first matchup here. First matchup goes to... No shit! The Elijah Craig 18. What? Elijah Craig 18 in this blind took it from Knob Creek 18 at 100 proof. What? Come on. Yeah. How is the Knob Creek giving me such a lackluster finish compared to the EC? Now remember, this is a small batch. This is a single barrel. This could be a really good single barrel a lot because I've had a lot of mediocre, not great Elijah Craig 18s. This was the last one I ever bought, and it was pretty good. So it stood up. It stood Knob Creek right up, and right at the goal line, boom, took it out. Knob Creek, you out. That means Elijah Craig 18 is the first winner of the night. Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. I think I don't know. I think it had to do the fact that it's a single barrel. I think the single barrel aspect of it is what made it stand out. Yeah, Elijah Craig. Just want to make sure because it's both KC and that. What did she say? Oh, that's EC. Okay. So it is Elijah Craig. All right, Elijah Craig 18 wins the first matchup. All right. Maybe they had to dilute the KC more to get 100 proof. I think so, DC. I think they definitely had to dilute it. Call a redo. The fix is on. You hate oak flavor. I do not hate oak. I do not hate oak. I like oak, but to a certain point. I like oak that bounces the bourbon. I don't want to lick a fucking tree. I think that's when oak is terrible. And it's like bitter and it's musty and it's overpowers the experience. That's when I don't like oak. You could have good ultra aged oak done right, like the Heaven Hill 17, which I think does it really good. So yeah, the EC 18 can differ widely from batch to batch. Yeah, it's because they're single barrels. It surprises me because I have had more mediocre to not great Heaven Hill single barrels than good ones. But that one's a good one. So there it is. All right, next up. This is going to be good. Wild Turkey 101 12 year versus Evan Williams 101 12 year. So this is kind of the Chiefs colors, right? Kind of looks like the Chiefs. There's no green on here for the Eagles, but it is a bird. It is a bird. It's got a turkey. It's a bird. So, Pappy 15 is licking a tree. It says Roscoe P. Coltrane. I don't think Pappy 15 is as bad. I think 20 and 23, the Pappies are like licking trees for sure. Does Turkey have a 20-year release? Did they ever call it a 20-year release? I think the oldest stuff the Russell's 13, some of the whiskey in there got close to 20 years. I think the oldest ones in there in that first batch was 18 or 19. So they've released stuff that's close to 20. So here we go. Does anyone think I'm not going to pick the turkey? We'll see what happens. But Evan Williams, this is a really interesting. I totally forgot about this bottle. Same proof, same age statement. Let's do it. Here we go. Just gonna mix these around a little bit. Gobble, gobble. Turkey takes it all day. If I don't call turkey on this, I don't know. Then whatever ends up winning the Super Bowl tonight, just pick the opposite team. Because something's broken. All right, here we go. Let's try these. Let me, these are kind of cramping my style here. Let me put these to the side here. ED, Evan Williams 12, about to get pantsed. Terrence West says, love the Jordan cement shirt. Yeah, I love that shirt. So I get all my sneaker information from a great channel called Wear Testers. Chris and his wife on that channel are the most knowledgeable sneaker. I love that channel. So I got this from their store. So if any of you guys love sneakers like I do, watch Wear Testers on YouTube. It's an absolutely incredible channel. Oh, the nose on this one is phenomenal. Yeah, decades. There you go. I thought decades. I was thinking 17, but yeah, decades is a 10 to 17 year, 10 to 20-year-old whiskey for sure. Let's see. If the EW12 wins, Vegas has infiltrated everything. Yeah, pretty big color difference here. When you look at them, this is much darker, the one on my right hand, than this one. But this one actually has a much richer nose too. This one's a lot lighter on the nose, not nearly as decadent as this one. That doesn't mean that that's bad. This is a really, really good whiskey. This bourbon has so when you talk about like that balance I was talking about, this gives you a nice balance of oak. This is like rich, deep caramel brown sugar. This is dessert in a glass. Huge, huge punch of like vanilla extract here. Matt Ryan in the chat says, I drink too much to buy new shoes. Yeah, Kagan Key, Nightwing. Absolutely, dude. You know who I'm talking about. Nightwing's the man. Oh, this one isn't even close. This glass, this is good, but this is exceptional. Yeah, it's not close. Winner goes to this glass, which is live drum roll. Oh, please God. It's the Wild Turkey 12. It had to be. It had to be the Wild Turkey 12 here because it's that fucking good. Yeah, this is one of my favorite Wild Turkey releases in a long time. So Wild Turkey takes out the Evan Williams 12 year. This just has more depth of flavor to it, more richness, more everything going on here. Oh, it's so good. It has the perfect amount of oak, spice. I actually think that the Evan Williams, I think the Evan Williams is sweeter than the Wild Turkey. But I like that oak balance we were talking about a little bit earlier. I like how the mid palate to the back of the palate, there's just much more going on when it comes to like depth of flavor. But I think the Evan Williams initially has way more sweetness punch in the front of the palate. And that was what was like making me think, do I like that one better? But yeah, I think when it comes to mid palate and finish, the turkey had to take it. So Wild Turkey for the win. Let me put that one in the winner's circle here. So we had one upset with the Elijah Craig already, and then we had one favorite, I think, take it. So Wild Turkey 12 year and Elijah Craig 18 making it to the winner's circle. Sorry, Edward Williams, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. All right, you go to the loser circle. Let me put these here. Which one's which? This is that's the turkey. Okay. Too many freaking glasses here. All right, next matchup. Getting to this one here. Winner, turkey dinner. Please, Wild Turkey, give us this in the U.S. Evan Williams 12 available after your tour, usually. Yeah, they usually have it. They usually have it there. Hey, look, Rarebird 101's out. As soon as the turkey comes out, so does Rarebird. Hey, Rarebird, you see right here? I finally got your new book right there, guys. Nobody has picked up Wild Turkey Musings yet from Mr. David Jennings. Here it is. I'm going to start reading this immediately, probably this weekend. But yeah, I cannot wait to get into this book. Yeah, it's. I kind of like thumbed through it, the images, the illustrations. Oh man, it's awesome. So, congrats to David on his second book release. That's big time, man. All right, let's see. Diego says, "What's up, Jason? Side note: I got my bottle in the mail today. The Cedar Ridge, a sticker with Ray Liotta as Shoeless Joe Jackson. Nice, Diego. Awesome, man. Hope you enjoy that one. Those Cedar Ridge picks are. Listen, they're not going to be the most. They're not going to be the most like, They're not going to be the most like developed flavored bourbons you ever had, but that Cedar Ridge stuff for the age and what they are producing, we felt like you guys have to try it because the stuff is just that good for the age. So, and if you got the double oaked, If you got the double oaked one, the double oaked is even better than the bourbon. The double oaked is rich, it's dark, and for the price, I think it's like 60 something bucks. It was such a steal of a bourbon. Yep. Charger guy just ordered the book. Awesome. There you go. There you go, Rare Bird. Let's see here. Y'all can get EW12 by taking ECBP and diluting to 100 proof easy. Master Drum, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome, man. All right. Let's go. Oh, we got another turkey in the house. Here it comes. This was also a suggestion. Russell's 13 versus the Lucky 7 15-year store pick. This is big time. Big time bottles here. Big time bottles. This is like John Madden. Boom, boom, across the goal line here. So Lucky 7 has recently started releasing these 15-year single barrels. After their 14 years last year. It's pretty much to be known as sourced Barton. Then we have Russell's 13 barrel proof. Now, 13 is the youngest whiskey in this blend. These are known to have older whiskey in it other than 13. I believe this is batch 2. I know people tend to get mixed up with the batches. Batch 1's better than batch 2. Batch 3 is better than 2. And it's all bullshit. They're all good. I don't care what batch you have. Like, stop nitpicking it. I think people make that shit up so they could try to sell it for more in the secondary. Doesn't matter. All the batches of Russell 13 are good. Doesn't matter what you say. Don't give me that shit. All right. James Lay says, this is Christian Okoye versus Reggie White. Oh, damn. That's old school, like, big-ass back versus lineman. Love that. Love that reference. Really? The Chiefs are Lucky 7. Are we trying to follow the NFL script this year? Come on. Russell's 13 is a hitter. Well, I mean, come on. Some of these single barrels from Lucky 7 are amazing. And there's no way around it. It's got a high age statement. I mean, why not? I thought it was a good suggestion. Let's see what happens. Let's go to this one. Ooh, this has like a dusty oak funk to it. Loving that. Oh, man. I have 2 banger picks from Lucky 7. Yeah, 460-something people in the chat. Holy shit, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please hit the like button while you're hanging out, watching. Also, I really want to thank everyone for the support. If you guys have not heard the episode with me on Bourbon Pursuit, Bourbon Pursuit is, Ryan and Kenny do, an amazing job on that podcast. And I was finally able to appear on it. And it was completely honored to be on there. So could not say thanks enough. But if you guys haven't listened to the episode yet, definitely go check out Bourbon Pursuit podcast. And I think it's about, I think there's like 2 quick episodes. I think there's a review and an episode in, after me. But if you scroll down, you'll see, I think the episode is, why master distillers are leaving, their distilleries with Jason Calori from the Mash and Drum. Go check it out. Give it a listen. Hope you guys enjoy it. Gives you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of, who I am, how I got into whiskey, some of my other interests, and some of the challenges of being a whiskey tuber. If you guys haven't heard it already, definitely give it a listen. But I appreciate everyone's support for really enjoying the podcast. So, Jason, if everyone in chat made a comment with the winner of the Super Bowl, would that help the channel? I don't know. Who's going to win? I hope you all have a wonderful evening, beautiful week, happy, healthy New Year. Cheers. Absolutely, Mamuka. Thanks, man. Good episode. I forgot you told us about that months ago. I enjoyed the collaboration they've done with other tubers. Yeah, me too. Dude pool. I mean, it's all downhill if you've been on the Bourbon Hunters. Guys, yeah, another great, whiskey bourbon podcast is the Bourbon Hunters. These guys are local here in Columbus. And I've probably been on their show more than any other podcast. And it is just good times hanging out and talking bourbon, and you laugh a lot. So Hey, what's up, SKY? Holy shit, he's in Hawaii. All right. Yeah, the noses are pretty different here. Thank you so much, Terrence. This one is definitely richer on the nose than this one is. A lot more going on, a little more oak, a lot of depth of flavor. Let's try it. Wow. Oh my gosh. It's viscous. It's rich. Richie G says, Jason, thank you for being the legit whiskey source on Whiskey Tube today. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Richie. I try, man. I try to keep it real. Let's see here. I was trying to. No, I think I went. Yeah, I did go through everything. Okay. I thought there was another news story that I missed to talk to you guys about, but no, I went through everything. All right. Let me go back to the chat here. All right, let's try the second glass here. These are a little bit closer than I would be comfortable with. This is giving me cherry chocolate almond vibes on this one. This one, just has, I mean, vanilla cream. There's a little butterscotch that, yeah, this is very good. And on that first sip of each of them, I got real nervous. But going back to the second sip, this one is ridiculous. Let's try this one here. Guys, this is close. I think the first glass has more depth to it, but this is right there. This has a better, this has a more peppery finish, but this has a longer lingering finish. So this hits you with the pepper in the back of the palate, but this has that, but also gives you a little bit more. I'm gonna have to go with Class A. This is a lot closer than I thought it was. I thought Russell 13 was gonna fucking destroy this bottle, but that is not the case. I mean, I don't know if you guys watch ADHD's video. Like, this is like the single barrel to get this year, and I agree. I mean, you should have an alert on your Google machine when Lucky 7 makes these 15-year single barrels available on their website. Just get one. Do you have it set up so there won't be a tie, Edwin? I have a contingency plan in case there is a tie, so don't worry about it. All right, I'm going to go with the first class here, and that one is Russell's 13. This is close. This was close. Very, very close. So it just goes to show you some of the quality of stuff that's out there right now. I don't know how Lucky 7's getting these high age barrels like constantly, but my goodness gracious. Like, that almost won. Like, I'm sitting here going back and forth. I'm like, which one do I like more? That almost won. Holy shit. Yeah. Yeah. I stick with my assessment. It's the Russell's 13 for the win. Winner circle. All right. Wow, these have been close. These have been close. We have 3 more matchups here, guys. What time is it? 10:30. Perfect. All right, let me put this one away. So far we have the winners: Elijah Craig 18, Wild Turkey 12-year, and Russell Reserve 13-year. for the win. We don't know what teams they represent quite yet. We will find out soon. What is the next blind up for bid? We have, oh, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. Hell fucking yeah. Blanton's. We just talked about it. Everybody lining up, people going across state lines, counterfeit, Blanton's, horsey tops behind bars. That sounds like a really good show to put on like the crime channel. Horsey tops behind bars. I'd watch that shit. I'd watch the shit out of that series. Oh my gosh. All right, so this was suggested by a patron, and I thought it was it was a great matchup. Blanton's said to be what? Used to be 7, 8 years old. Supposedly now you're looking at 4 to 5 years old if you're lucky. This is a pretty decent bottle of Blanton's that I have. It's I think it's the only bottle of Blanton's I have, besides like the specialty ones I have, but I think this is like really one of the only. I think I have 2 single barrels of this, and that's it. Yeah, the other one is Blanton's Gold, and then I have this, and that's it. Those are my only bottles of Blanton's. But this is a pretty good single barrel. I actually talked with Dude Pool from Bourbon Hunters about when you find a really good Blanton's bottle, a really good single barrel, they're vanilla bombs. And I think this one, I don't know if it's a vanilla bomb, but it gets close to it. But then you have the new Bardstown Bourbon Company Origin Series, which just released not that long ago. And this is set to be high rye, but I still think it's below 20% rye on the Blanton's, even though it's considered high rye. This is a true high rye, the Origin Series, coming in with 60 corn, 36 rye, and 4% malted barley. But it's also 96 proof, so it's only 4 proof points higher than the Blanton's. So you're looking at, somewhat similar mash bills. Obviously, I think there's more rye in the Origin Series and the Blanton's, but you're looking also at similar price points at MSRP. But as we just found out, people are paying a lot more to break this out of jail. So let's see how the new Origin Series stacks up against a bottle of Blanton's. Why not? I thought this was a great suggestion by my patrons. So, yeah, but what letter is that? What letter is this? This is L. Anybody need an L? Anybody need an L? No? All right. Let's see here. This should be easy to differentiate in taste. I doubt Blanton's gets picked, but if it does, I mean, it's a call to Bardstown to keep striving. Yeah, 45 versus 65, says Whiskey Juice. Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is about $45. So now if you look at the colors here, they're both pretty light. They are both pretty equal in color. I mean, there's not a lot of difference here, guys, if you take a look at that. Not a lot of difference. And that actually looks darker on camera than it really is. I actually think it's a little bit lighter than that when you hold it up to the light. So, all right, let's I can't find the Fusion. I can find the Fusion, but not Discovery. Well, the Discovery is released, periodically, and they're people usually gobble those up over the Fusion. But remember, the Fusion has been discontinued. You're not going to see the Fusion anymore. I think from when Dan Calloway from Bardstown was on the channel, I think Fusion will come back in another form. But Origin is really going to be the base standard now for Bardstown products. So let's see what we get. What is the Rick and warehouse of the Blanton, says Keno C. You really need to know? Rick, number 51, Warehouse H, dumped on 3/13/20, barrel 836. This is from 2020. Shows you how old this bottle is. And it's still like all the way full. I love Blanton's. The nose in my right hand has a lot going on. A lot more going on than the one in my left hand. Left hand's a little bit more subtle, a little bit more. Man. Wow, it's close on the nose. Both of them, I get heavy vanilla. I'm getting citrus in both of them. And I'm also getting maybe a little tinge of oak in both of them as well. A little bit of caramel here too. Real talk, what were those Blantons filled with? Says Kyle Taylor. Fucking Jim Beam White Label. Ancient Age. I mean, Ancient Age would be probably the easiest one to fool people being Blantons. I mean, it's the same mash bill. Could totally fool people with Ancient Age. All right, let's taste these. This one's very citrusy, very sweet. Oh, this one on the palate. That one went all creamsicle. Like the old Flintstones push pop creamsicles. The orange. I told you, this is a decent bottle of Blantons. I actually like this barrel. So I'm not sure here. This one on my left hand, I like the nose better on the right, but the palate on the left, I think, is what's winning me over. Now, when it comes to like nose palate's gonna win over nose. I don't care how good it smells. If it tastes like shit, it doesn't matter. This one is very good, but it's very easy, very soft. It's not this one. It is orange creamsicle, spice. One more sip of each, because these are really close. This one, you get the rye up front immediately. And then it's just all sweet and candy and vanilla. That's good. But then you go to this one. And it's almost the reverse. You get into all the sweet up front. You get this big punch of like orange zest. Like vanilla icing with orange zest in it. And then it finishes with a bunch of spice on it. Rather than the spice hitting you in the front like this one. I'm going to have to go with that. First Flintstones reference that wasn't a casual nod to the Dickle, says Kyle Taylor. Yeah, like the push pops. All right, let's see what we got here in my left hand. Scares the shit out of me if I pick Blantons. Wow. Bardstown again. The Origin series takes out the Blantons. For me, personally, tonight. Bardstown. Jesus Christmas. These Origin series are crushing it for me in blinds lately. Damn. Now, yeah, the bottom of the glass. OR is written for Origins. So there you go. Wow. Jason, read my comment and went mute immediately after. Wise guy, Stu. What did you say, wise guy? Jason loves it so much he wants to kill that horsey Tom. Yeah, I can't. I don't know if you want to retype what you wrote, dude. So this is the Origin series. This is just the high rye bourbon. This is not the 100 proof wheater. This is just the high rye, but it's 96 proof. It's like 45, 50 bucks. 60. It's a 6-year-old product. This is actually older than Blanton's, I think, nowadays. I think Blanton's, you're getting a 4 to 5-year-old product. This, like, I mean, it was sort of close until I took those other sips. Then this just, that like almond, orange, orange zest, vanilla cream like note that this has, and it comes like, it's forceful. It doesn't, Blanton's is good because it's delicate, and that's what people like about Blanton's. You could just drink this all day long, and I think that's what people love about it, besides the horsey top and the label and all the other shit. But Blanton's goes back to jail. Oh, shit. Origin for the win. If you guys have not tried the Origin series from Bardstown Bourbon Company, you need to try to find a bottle. The rye has not released yet. The rye releases, I think next month, either March or April. But yeah, no joke. Not a fan of Blanton's, but it's supposedly 8-year for original single barrel. Toasty Bake, it is not 8 years old anymore. It's not even close. You're looking at a 4 to 5-year-old product these days for Blanton's. It is the 8-year barrels that we get in the U.S. Those days are long gone. And people don't care what's in the bottle because all they want is the horsey that's in jail. So I keep saying that. I'm sorry. It's not in jail. It's a free horsey. No, okay. So what do you do with the leftover juice in the cups? I'm going to blend them all and see how bad that blend is. That's what I do. Okay. Whiskey Juice says, yes, the rye releases in March. There you go. You ready for the next one? Another turkey comes to the table. Turkey versus Beam. We have Russell Single Rickhouse Camp Nelson C versus the Hardins Creek Jacob's Well 108 proof. All right, so the stats on these two. This is one single Rickhouse Camp Nelson C, 112.4 proof, non-chill filtered, barrel proof. The Hardins Creek Jacob's Well, it's a blend of 16-year high rye bourbon and 15-year standard, or is that reversed? Is it 16-year regular rye? 15? I don't know. There's 16 and 15-year-old bourbon in this blend. One of them is high rye. One of them is, I guess, standard rye. Blended together for the Hardins Creek. So 108 proof here. And yeah, I'm all about this matchup. I thought it was a great idea. Let's see what wins out. Here we go. Hardins Creek, easy win? Easy win, says Wise Guy Stu. Really? You're saying easy win. Hardins Creek gonna slam. Hardins Creek gonna slam. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. Oh boy, can't wait to see the winner. Dusty Dan saying HC all day. Toshi Baked. Where did you hear that, Jason? Not doubting you. Just heard it was still around 8 years for single, around 10 years for the gold and other limited like plans. Happy to learn. Yeah, Toshi Baked. It is not. I don't know who told you that, but they are trying to churn out so much Blanton's these days that it's not hitting that age statement anymore. You're looking at a 4 to 5-year-old product. I think the last thing I heard was 5 to 6 now. I'm not sure if it's gotten as low as 4. Some people have said 4 years. I'm still more in the camp that it's probably a 5 to 6-year-old product now, but it's certainly not 8 years. I mean, I have heard from multiple people, multiple sources, that it is not 8 years old anymore. Now, I don't have the inside track at Sazerac or Blanton's or Buffalo Trace or whatever it may be, but I've talked to a lot of people in the know that say that it is not nearly that old. The 8-year, 9-year, 10-year-old barrels go overseas to Le Maison du Whiskey, to France, to Poland. They get the ultra-aged barrels. The U.S. does not, at least anymore. So now, if you read any of the press releases or if you read any information for Blanton's on the website, and you would think Sazerac being so good at marketing, they would tell you if there's 8 to 9-year-old whiskey in those barrels, and they don't anymore. So that's also a big indicator why I think there's a lot younger whiskey in those bottles. So, let's see. Hey, Drums and Drams in the house. What's up, Cam? He says, last one I tried literally tastes like Benchmark. I'm not exaggerating. Yeah, that does not surprise me. Does not surprise me at all. Um, why are they shipping the older bottles overseas? Well, that's where so Blanton's used to have a huge international market, and they still do, all the way back to when it started. They used to ship a lot of these specialty bottles to Japan, Poland, France, who has a huge following for Blanton's. So to kind of thank them for that, Blanton's has been. Remember, Blanton's was owned by an international market before it got taken over, so it has a lot of loyal fans internationally that people love, and to kind of thank those people or thank that following or continue to feed that following, Sazerac and Buffalo Trace send a lot of the older, higher proof bottles overseas. Now, I did a live stream with probably the craziest Blanton's collector I've ever seen. My friend Dominic, who lives here in Ohio. You should watch that and check out all the stuff that he brought. He gives you all the breakdowns of why these bottles are overseas and all of it. Yeah, this is the biggest reason right here. Bland's is owned by Takara, so Bland's is owned by a Japanese conglomerate, Japanese company. So a lot of these specialty barrels go overseas that we don't get here. So there you go. They say that age doesn't matter. It's bottled when they say it tastes good, convenient, and that's exactly what it is. That's why I don't think. That's why I don't think that you're not getting. We're not getting 8-year-old stuff here anymore. So I have two bottles. I have a Poland release, and I have the Le Maison du Whiskey release from France. Single barrels. If Blanton's tasted like that here, I would buy every one I could get my hands on. But it doesn't. Yeah, Beam is a Japanese company also. Centauri. Yep. All right. Single Rickhouse Russells, which I liked. I liked this bottle. I hated the price point. But I thought if you have good access to single barrels from Russell's, I thought that this was paying too much for a good single barrel. Rare Bird was in the chat, and I told this to him. I'm like, I'd rather just buy your single barrels or try to get some of my own single barrels rather than pay $250 for this. There's two single barrels I have from Rare Bird that I think actually are better than this. So, but I'm all in on that Camp Nelson F that's coming out this year because there's some funky barrels in Camp Nelson F. And the Hardens Creek, you guys knows I love. They made my top 10 this year. So. This has a lot of spice to it. Vanilla cream, orange zest, little hint of grape cherry going on in that one. Good oak. Wow. All right. This one's a little darker, a little richer. Mash and Drum, do you think the Russell's 13 Batch 3 is better than the single Rickhouse? Yeah, I think all the Russell's 13s I've had are better than that. I am very curious, though, to try that single Rickhouse Camp Nelson F that's going to be coming out this year. Because those Camp Nelson Fs, when they were hitting the market as single barrels a couple of years ago, some of those were the most unique Russell single barrels I've ever had, and some of them were just so good. So I'm hoping that kind of lives up to the hype, you know, for the price point. So we'll see how it goes. Oh God, I love that HEJW, but single Rick crushes on palate, in my opinion. Oh, I love the Hardens Creek Jacob as well, but single Rick House's crushes on palate says Toshi Bake. We'll see what happens here. I don't think I've ever compared these two. Wow. This glass, for me on the palate, has way more going on. It's richer, it's deeper, it's darker. The finish hangs out longer. Wow. One more sip of each here. This is really good. I mean, it's super sweet. JG, thanks for making Whiskey Wednesdays the best. Whiskey cheers. Thanks so much, JG. Appreciate you, man. I'm glad you guys are, enjoy my rants and are able to hang out. This is always fun each and every Wednesday night. Let's go to this one here. This one to me has just more going on. Vanilla cream. This has like that cherry grape note to it too, but this has this oak and this spice and this depth of flavor to it. What the hell? I thought I'd be able to really kind of tell these apart, and I think I can, but I'm not quite sure. Oh, man. I don't know which one to pick. These are both. I might have to go back to that one. How did Bland's become an international whiskey after being created in the U.S. in the 80s by Elmer T. Lee, says Nick Carpenter. Because at the time, Buffalo Trace was changing hands through different owners so many times before Sazerac ultimately took them over. I think the international market became huge because the international market is what state nobody was drinking bourbon in the 80s in the United States. But guys like Booker No, Elmer T. Lee, Jimmy Russell, some of these guys, the road warriors they were called, these guys going out and making people taste their barrels, taste their whiskeys. And the international market, remember, the international market is what was Four Roses. That was the Four Roses #1 market for a very long time, which is why it's still owned by a Japanese market. I mean, it's still owned by Kirin. So you have just so many international influences for bourbon at the time in the 1980s. No one was really drinking it at that time. So the international market kept those distilleries alive. And that's why I think you still get a lot of these whiskeys that go exported out. And, it kind of bothers me when people like give, whiskey producers shit for, putting, for sending good bottles, like, exported out internationally. It's because you just got into bourbon now and you don't understand how much the international market kept bourbon going in those deep, dark years. And that's why you have a lot of good releases still going out internationally. So. It's this glass. There's just too much going on in this glass compared to this one. All right. Let's see what it is. Come on. Russell's takes it again. Yeah, I like turkey. Shit. How did this beat this out when I did my end of the year blind? But now this is just kicks the shit out of this. That's the beauty of blind tastings can change day to day, guys. I've been saying this. Russell's for the win. Oh my gosh. Who is going to win the Super Bowl? We don't know. But yeah, if you guys do a little research, look at what happened in the 80s. Why were those international markets so imperative to the survival of bourbon? That is why they get so many good releases that we don't get. But you can't be mad at it. Like I said, people get pissed off. Like people got so pissed, like why Japan was getting Australia, I forgot who else was getting the international export of the Wild Turkey 12. How come we're not getting that? That's bullshit. Blah blah blah. I'm like, because you were not drinking bourbon back in the '80s when nobody was drinking it. Japan was. That's why they're getting it. So there you go. Okay. Bougie Bourbon says good pick on the ECBP A123. Yeah, glad you like that one. It's a really good one. Come on, just Russell was gonna hit. I wasn't sure, man. All right, so last matchup of the night. We'll see what happens here. We all learned something new tonight. Thank you, Jason, for enlightening us all. You're welcome, Whiskey Juice. This is quite the hitter of a matchup. ADHD whiskey, do I really sound like that? What do you what do you mean? George T. Stagg, 2020. 130.4 proof. About to go against the 4-gate Indiana Foundation 14-year, 144.3 proof. Yeah, it's about to get crazy. About to get crazy. We're gonna crown a champion here soon here. All right, here's the Super Bowl. Now, color-wise, yeah, they're pretty spot on here. They're pretty spot on. All right, heavyweights going down. Bread War says praying. I mean, the 4-gate, that 4-gate is a ghost bottle. That thing isn't even around anymore. I was very lucky to get one of these, but let's see. All right, Unicorn versus Unicorn. 4-gate wins, says Cohen. Holy shit. The nose on this glass, it's not even close. The nose on this glass is very good, but this nose on this one, it is just pure candy. It is pure candy on the nose. All right, let's try them. Here we go. Gosh, that's freaking good. This has just every deep, dark, rich flavor. I mean, molasses, brown sugar, vanilla extract, everything you want in just a really good, well-aged bourbon. And we need one more sip of that one here. It is so good. It is so good. Spice. Man, this is like drinking like a chocolate chip cookie to me tonight. My palate is all over the place tonight. This is amazing. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves tonight. 441 still watching. We'll find out who wins the Super Bowl here shortly. Wow. So this one, oh, this tastes like a ginger snap cookie on the palate. Woo! OH is that Indiana Foundation Hazmat is a special bottle. There's no way GTS wins as OH. I'm about to find out, OH. These are both absolute. How am I even picking this? This is ridiculous. I don't know, guys. These both of them. Now, I remember when I tasted that 4-gate, I actually wanted a little bit more sweetness out of it. It was coming off very harsh, very because it is hazmat. You're 144 proof. It stings when you drink that 4-gate. But I felt like it was a little bit drying. I am not getting that from either of these right now. And maybe because my palate has obviously had a lot of whiskey tonight. It's just kind of getting acclimated here. But I'm getting full flavor, full sweetness from both of these glasses. And I'm not sure which one I like more. just the depth of flavor in here. The brown sugar, the almost like root beery, cherry root beer like vibes I'm getting on the first one compared to this like ginger snap cookie, chocolate, oak. Gosh, dang it. This is like, Jordan and LeBron. Jordan and LeBron. Here's love the show and live streams. What's your advice on keeping your bourbon intake in check? Do you drink much off camera? Andy DC. That's a really good question. I don't. A lot of people think I probably drink every day. I do not. To try to stay in shape and to just try to, I really limit myself to, obviously when I do reviews, I'm drinking, but I'm taking very small sips, and usually that's it for the day. When I'm doing nights like this is probably the most I drink, in any given week. But I really try to, and the days I'm not filming or I'm not drinking, I drink a shit ton of water. I'm always keeping hydrated. You have to. I think for as much whiskey as I have, whether it be Wednesday nights, whether it be barrel picks, whether it be tastings, you have to find every moment you can to keep your palate fresh. To also deliver you guys as accurate as, reviews as I can, based on my palate. So I don't drink that much off camera as a lot of people would think. I take a lot of breaks. I try not to drink anything over the weekends. I try to keep those weekends dry. So in the week when I'm doing content, my palate's fresh and ready to go. So glass to your left is a winner by your description, says Jeffrey Diaz. Glass to my, so this one, you think? There's like a slight dusty note to this one, though. Oh my God. Okay. I think I have my choice here, but before we reveal this, let's find out what the other winners were and what teams they were designated. So, where is the envelope? Oh, it's right over here. Let's open it up. Let's find out if we're going to have a tie or if someone wins the Super Bowl. Here we go. All right. First winner of the night was the Elijah Craig 18. Elijah Craig 18 was labeled as the Philadelphia Eagles. So Philadelphia Eagles gets one vote for the Super Bowl. The next blind we had was the the Evan Williams 12 versus the Wild Turkey 12 year. Wild Turkey 12 year won. Wild Turkey 12 year went to the Chiefs. They were labeled the Chiefs. So we have one for the Eagles and one for the Chiefs. Okay, this is fun. I'm digging this. I'm digging this. Remember, these were assigned random teams by a generator. So this is how it came out. Okay. The next one was Russell's 13 versus Lucky 7. Russell's 13 won the blind. Russell's 13 was the Chiefs. Okay, the Chiefs. The Chiefs. Okay. Next, oh shit. Next up was Blanton's versus Origins. Origins was the winner. Origins went to the Chiefs. It's looking bad for the Eagles. It's looking bad for the Eagles. Okay, next up. The what do we have here? The Hardin's Creek versus the single Rickhouse. The single Rickhouse won. The single Rickhouse was deemed the Eagles. Three Chiefs, 2 Eagles. So that means it could come down to the 4-gate and the stag. we could have a tie, which means you guys will have to give me one more blind to do for the night. Here we go. Which one am I picking? These are both special bourbons. I have to go with this one. This one is an absolute monster of flavor, spice. This is a beast. This one's good, but coming off of that, this is an absolute monster. The winner of the stag versus 4-gate goes to. Can you see it yet? Can you see it yet? Anybody know? Four-gate. 4-gate is, oh shit, the Eagles. It's 3-3, which means you guys get to choose my last blind of the night to choose the winner. All right, so throw some suggestions in the chat, and the best one that I kind of think is interesting, I will do right now, and then we'll find out a winner. We need one more. We need one more to figure Eagles versus Chiefs. Oh my gosh. How does that even happen? How does that happen? Taste challenge, McCormick whiskey. JC, if you had to pick between the Old Tar 7 or still also cast strength, blaze straight from the barrel, EHC barrel proof. I like that Old Tar, Matthew. As far as straight from the barrel, EHC barrel proof. EHC barrel proof, hands down. Okay. Malort versus Malort. Eagle Rare versus like Yellowstone. I'm there with OH. What did OH say? Down Home Double Oaked versus Cedar Ridge Double Oaked M&J pick. You want to go double oaked? You want to do picks for this one? God, do I even have that double oaked yet? Let's see. I even have a bottle of that shit still. Oh my god, I don't even know. Is this it? Yep, Down Home. I got it. Down Home. Cedar Ridge Double Oaked. Give me 1 second. All right, guys. I like that idea. So Down Home, Cedar Ridge. These are going to be the two picks that we utilize here. I kind of like the idea of doing some Mash and Journey picks to figure this out. Where is my pen? All right, so let's do this. I'm going to assign. So I have A and B here. All right, so these are both double oaked. Okay. Down Home. So these are both double oaked products, double oaked single barrels selected by the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club. So Cedar Ridge A and the Down Home is B. So you guys need to remember that in the chat. So let's kind of mix them around down here. I don't want to see them. The Down Home is 8-year-old cast strength Beam. So Jim Beam distillate that's been double oaked. And Cedar Ridge is about 5-year-old bourbon that's been double oaked. And that's all their own stuff. That's Cedar Ridge. So let's see how this goes. Oh, man. All right, so let's start with this one here. Chocolate. Like chocolate fudge. Let's go to this one here. Oh, much brighter. Chocolate covered strawberry. Ooh. All right, I like the nose on this one more. Let's try this one here. And that down home, I forgot how good it is. I think that's the down home. I mean, it's just too it's too beamy. So I mean, it's just going to really depend on if I like the Cedar Ridge more or not. JJ, which one do you like? Oh man, I think I like the Cedar Ridge more. That's got to be the Cedar Ridge. This is too beam-like to not know what that is. I think the Cedar Ridge too is just. After the stream, are you crushing food, and what's the snack of choice? Whiskey makes me hungry. Yeah, I try not to eat after this, for sure. I think it's got to be the Cedar Ridge for me. I just love that strawberry, that chocolate covered strawberry note that Cedar Ridge gives you. Absolutely love it. All right, I'm gonna give it to Cedar Ridge. Now, Cedar Ridge wasn't assigned a team, but this is how we're gonna do it. It's gonna be just chance, and we'll see who wins the Super Bowl. So I'm going to share my screen here. Here is the wheel. It's Chiefs and Eagles. I'm going to click this list. I'm going to click this wheel. And whatever the arrow lands on is what ends up being the Cedar Ridge and who wins the matchup and who's going to win the Super Bowl. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl this Sunday. And if you watched Hello Again Whiskey Friends before this, the Chiefs won on that too. Chiefs for the win. That's my pick. That's who I'm going to bet on, I think. I'm going Kansas City Chiefs all the way. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, this was a lot of fun. I really appreciate all the viewers who sent in some head-to-heads. I think there were some really good ones here. I might do some formal double bass episodes off of some of these, but I can't say thanks enough for all the support tonight, guys. Thanks for everyone that watched. We had almost 500 in the chat tonight. We'll see what happens. If you guys are watching the Super Bowl and the Chiefs win, shoot me a message. Love to hear from you guys through Instagram or whatever it may be. We'll see if the whiskey was right. So cheers to you guys. Thanks for hanging out tonight. As I always say, it is not about the whiskey. It's the people you share it with. Cheers. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Hope you learned a little something. Hope you enjoyed the show. See you next week right here on the Mash and Drum. Cheers, folks.